see if I know how to. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and somewhere near Charlotte, North Carolina. And this is news that you can use for Wednesday, May 8th, with me, Ray, and, well, not Zach, but Brandon from Car Questions Answered. How are you today? Well, I call my son. How are you today, handsome?
Yeah, I'll take it. I don't get that enough from my wife, so I'll like to hear that from you. So that's good. Um, I love coming on these shows, especially my favorite time to come on the lives with Ray and Zach is when it's just Ray. And that's it, because we get to talk about whatever we want to talk about today, no matter what the title is. And I don't care what the title is. We're not going to talk about it, whatever it is.
Well, I don't care what the title is either, but I did get an email from my son that said, lead with what's going on at Toyota. So, just to keep my boss happy for, another day, because he's going to do the show with me tomorrow. So just to keep my boss happy, we're going to talk about Toyota, and we're going to see if I remember how to present my screen so I can pull up the article. This should be interesting. I'm certain. We're going to share the entire screen, and we're going to click. Oh, did I lose you folks? Am I sharing? Share.
Hey,
share.
Hey, you want me to do it?
Is that working now?
No, hold on. I got it. This is so good for TV. Let's see here.
Oh God, I am just so pathetic. You know how to
All
do
right,
it?
I shared my screen, but you're going to have to put it on there because you don't give me any access.
Add to stage.
There you go.
There it is. CEO Koji Sato reloads for long-term growth after leading Toyota to record profit, sales, and production. That MFer hit the trifecta, baby. Am I allowed to say that, by the way?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'll play Zach's role. So here we go. We got record profits coming out of Toyota. We've got sales. We've got production that's ramping up again. And because of all of this, we're seeing that, okay, it's still very tough to be able to buy a Toyota. And it seems like Toyota is doing the right thing when all of these other manufacturers are going bankrupt, right? It's over. It's done. All these other manufacturers are sucking, and we're seeing that across the board. So Ray, Pops, what is Toyota doing right that everyone else is doing so wrong?
Well, one of the things they're doing right is, they had a record year. Their fiscal year ended March 31st of this year, and they had record production, including Hino trucks in Japan and Daihatsu in Japan. They had record profits. They took in and they had record sales. They took in more money than they've ever taken in, and they're going to do something that is, well, maybe the good folks at Stellantis should pay attention to, because they are saying, Toyota is saying, that for the next fiscal year they expect profits to go down 20%. And the reason is because they're going to take the record profits that they made last fiscal year, and they're going to invest some of those into their suppliers because of inflation, worldwide inflation. They want to help their suppliers out and pay them more money. They want to pay their workers more money. They gave their workers the biggest wage increase in 25 years. And for instance, Stellantis has been in court in the United States fighting its suppliers, saying, we don't want to give you a dime more. We don't care about inflation. We don't care that you're going to lose money to sell us the parts. You have a contract, honor your contract. And that's the difference between Toyota and Stellantis. Stellantis looks at it as, we're going to squeeze every penny out of you. And Toyota is saying, no, we want to reinvest some of these profits into the people that make it possible, our workers and our suppliers. And I don't know, that seems like a worthwhile endeavor, at least to me. What do you think?
And it seems like it always comes back to, okay, well, who's sucking right now? And it's Stellantis is always the brand that comes to mind, right? So
Yeah.
one thing that I thought was interesting that's going to affect the whole market in general is when they're talking about what their forecasts are. They're forecasting that profit's going to slip about 20% through next year,
Yes.
and net income is expected to fall 39%,
Yes.
which is, I think, indicative of what we've seen from their margins over the last couple years and where their production was. They know that more production is coming through the way. They know that sales are going to be harder to come by than what they were over the last few years. Even though their sales are ramping up, they're going to have to incentivize these consumers a lot more going forward just because of the state of the economy that we're in, the state of interest rates versus where they were at a period a year and a half ago. So what's your take on that as far as how what they're predicting from the most sought after brand, in my opinion,
Yeah.
in the car market right now? They're still expecting this drop. What does that mean for the overall market?
Well, I mean, if they think it's going to be tough, what's it going to mean for Ford? What's it going to mean for GM? What's it going to mean for every other brand out there? We touched on it yesterday with the CDJR dealers. They're already screaming. And if what Toyota thinks is going to happen to the industry is what indeed happens, if you're a CDJR dealer, you're like me. You have very little hair left on the top of your head because you've been pulling it out since the Stellantis isn't really supporting you to help you sell those vehicles. So I think, let's face it, Toyota has taken a contrarian approach to battery electric vehicles compared to everybody else in the industry, and they put, at least when Mr. Toyota was the CEO, they spent the bulk of their time promoting and building hybrids. And hybrids have taken off even more than they, I think, anticipated at Toyota. And that's what's allowed them to have the growth that they've had and the profits that they've had. But they realize that they now have to spend more money in battery electric vehicles, in artificial intelligence. I don't know what the hell is wrong with real intelligence that we have to spend so much time on artificial intelligence. But I just think if they're seeing headwinds, then it bodes poorly for everyone else.
I can tell you, talking about some of this EV movement, you're talking about hybrids, but this is the stepping stone between what ICE is and then EVs. You've talked about this forever, right? But we were at a Toyota dealership last week, and they had the EV, the Toyota EV, the BZ junk, whatever the crap that thing's called, and it had a $12,000 mark off. So it's literally on the windshield in big, and this was a Toyota dealership that was hopping. This thing had minus $12,000 real big on the windshield. And we talked to the salespeople that were there, and they're like, yeah, these things, they're not moving. So obviously the EV investment has not happened for Toyota. But to say all that, this is, I think, a positive in why Toyota's been able to do so well and put out some of the profits that they've been able to put out, is because they are focusing on where the demand is going. They're what's the phrase in hockey? They're hitting the puck to where someone's skating. Somebody put it down in the chat what the actual saying is, but they're looking to where the market is going, and that's why they're pumping so much into hybrids and why they've been so successful. Is because they've been putting money into what consumers actually want and not necessarily where people thought the market was going.
Do you think that perhaps they've actually dictated where the market's going because they've concentrated so heavily in hybrids, and everybody else has now said, Ford came out and said, well, we're going to get heavily involved in hybrids through the end of the decade. Other manufacturers have, Hyundai has said they're going to get more involved in hybrids. Do you think to a certain degree that perhaps Toyota is actually dictating the market as opposed to understanding where the market was?
I don't think it's been a non-factor just because of how prevalent Toyota is as a brand, and there's just people out there. It's probably the most like loyalty brand that's out there is Toyota would be
Mhm.
my assumption.
Yes.
I haven't actually looked at the numbers, but that would be my guess.
Yes.
So if they're moving that way, their customers are going to go with them. I do think that the market got it wrong overall as far as the adoption of moving to EV, and the hybrid is this nice soft little middle ground. And I don't necessarily think Toyota was the main driver of that. I think it was just the market not ready for the technology that's coming out. But I do think that definitely Toyota is a piece of that just because of the brand loyalty that Toyota have. So I've never owned a hybrid, and I know that me and my wife are looking to potentially upgrade her car in the near future. And if we're going to go with Toyota, it's going to be a hybrid because that's just what the models that we're going to be looking at are going to be in. So we want to buy a Toyota, and it's going to be a hybrid. So whether or not we want a hybrid or not, if we want a Toyota, we're going to want a hybrid. If we want to a Toyota, if you can reverse engineer that.
Okay, so if I hear you correctly, I think what I'm hearing is that you are like many Americans. You're not ready yet to go full battery electric, but you're thinking of, I don't know, getting on the highway on that bridge to full battery electric vehicles, and that bridge for you and your wife, Mrs. Car Questions Answered, and God bless her for having such a name. No wonder you married her.
Only a name a mother would love, right?
Exactly. But it seems to me that you're using a hybrid as your bridge to ultimately getting to full battery electric.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that I mean eventually we'll buy some EVs, I'm sure, down the road. It'll be something that we're definitely looking at. We're not even thinking about making a full transition into an EV. That's not going to be our everyday driver anytime soon. I would not anticipate. But I would say it's just that the fact that we want to buy a Toyota is
Mhm.
what's dictating it for us. It's Toyota that's dictating that move to hybrid, like what you're saying earlier. They do
Yes.
have a place pushing the market toward hybrids, because if Toyota as a brand is putting the Sienna in a hybrid, if they're making more of these, I mean, like the Venzas, if they're going to be hybrids, if you want that car, if that's a car that you want to buy, then that's what you're buying. You're buying a hybrid. So that's more of where the weight is for us than some kind of stepping stone. It's I don't
Well,
necessarily think that we're going to need some kind of stepping stone when we go into a new kind of technology.
so Toyota is dictating the market to a certain degree. They really
For
are.
us, yes, yep.
Yes. And I don't think it's just for you based on their sales. I think it's a rather, what was the number in the article? I think it was 33% of all their sales were hybrids, and they expect that number next year to go up to 42 or 44%. Um, so they're the ones building the most of them, and so to a certain degree they are dictating the market, and they've said that the cost of hybrids is almost equivalent to the cost of just a plain ICE vehicle. So, and they figured out how to make just as much money on the hybrid as they have on the ICE vehicle. So I still subscribe to my theory that they are dictating the market. Their sales are skyrocketing, and others like Hyundai, Kia, Ford have noticed it and said, okay, we're going to delay some of our battery electric vehicles that we were talking about. We're going to cut back some of our investment in full battery electric vehicles, and we're going to take that money and put it in the hybrids. That sounds to me like they're dictating the market.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to see more of these other brands. They're going to move. I mean, unless you're a Stellantis and you just have no clue, but you're going to
Yeah,
see these other brands that have some form of management that can read the market and knows where the market's going. That they're going to see that, okay, if people are buying this, then we need to make more of these. I think Ford is another brand that is seemingly almost clueless at this point, because you're seeing that, what's it, 90, I think it was 92% of their production last quarter, of trucks went to
yeah,
the F-150. Now, F-150 is the number one selling truck in
yeah.
America, right? But we're seeing that these F-150s, I mean, you guys pull it up every single day. Their days of inventory is absolutely ridiculous, but still they continue quarter after quarter to pump a majority of their production into these vehicles that people aren't buying. And if you go to a Ford dealer lot, you almost can't find a Maverick.
and
And
and and the Maverick was their most improved selling vehicle, and what I mean by that is in volume of vehicle sales. So you would almost think, if you were running Ford and you can't keep Mavericks in stock at dealerships, but the F-150s are, I don't know, breeding on their own on dealer lots, that maybe if you ran Ford, you would say, how about we cut back F-150 production and we move that production over to Maverick and we produce the things people actually want to buy?
yeah, but that would be obvious. That would be obvious. So, I mean, I can give you an example just in small business on my car dealership. Now, obviously, this is not the case, but if we buy 5 Toyota Camrys
Yes.
and we end up sitting on all those Toyota Camrys for 60 days and have to keep lowering their price, lower the price, lower the price, and they just keep sitting there and they don't sell, and then
Yeah.
I eventually just have to dump them for whatever I have in them or at a loss, guess what? We're not buying any more Toyota Camrys. That's how we move with the market. If the market says that they don't want a particular car, if we're not selling as many of those, I don't care. I don't care how long I mean, I know they're making a lot of money when they sell one, but the market is telling you that they can't buy them right now. And then dealers are starting to turn down allocations. And this is when it hits earnings.
Well, and the problem is that Ford is making their money when they wholesale it to their dealer. Their dealer is choking on the vehicles that they're taking wholesale from the manufacturer. So it almost indicates that Ford could care less what it is that Ford buyers want to buy. They're just not going to build those vehicles in the numbers that customers want them to be, because it's not as profitable for Ford to wholesale a Maverick to its dealer body as it is to wholesale a $90,000 F-150.
Right. And it makes sense until it doesn't, right?
Yeah,
At some point, when right we're seeing right now, and this is why
yeah,
you haven't seen in the earnings. I see it in my comments all the time. Well, Brandon, you say these dealers are suffering, whatever, but Ford's turning in record profits. Toyota's turning. What? Yeah, they're going to, as long as dealers continue to take vehicles. Dealers can be suffering, like we're seeing right now, as manufacturers bring in record profits. Ford is different from a Ford dealer. They're two separate businesses.
yes,
Now, when Ford, the dealership, says, okay, Ford, for the manufacturer, I can't take any more trucks, which is what we're seeing right now. The following quarters is when you see the manufacturers start to suffer. And the problem for a lot of these manufacturers and a lot of these shareholders are going to realize this coming in the next couple quarters, is that all these dealerships are going to be in the same boat. So they're all going to load up until they get to their peak. It's all going to happen at one time. It's like a light switch is going to turn off. They're all going to turn down allocations at the same time. That's why you see right now, you can see pictures from Detroit. Their F-150s sitting everywhere. They're going to have to start stacking those things on top of each other.
yes.
It's going to get bad really soon for a lot of these manufacturers, and it's going to happen all at once. And shareholders are going to get blindsided. But I'm telling you, this is what happens.
Well, and we already can see it at Stellantis, for instance, where Stellantis is changing up their incentive program to say to the dealer, we're going to pay you to take cars. And the dealer at a certain point I think most of the dealers, and when I say most, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 90% of the dealers said to them, "You can pay us all you want. I'm not taking anymore." I mean, there's
Yeah, that
no
was
point if you don't have a customer for it as a dealer. There's no point in taking it's your Camry story. If you have those 5 Camrys and you can't sell them, well, you're not going out to buy more Camrys. If you have, I don't know, 1,500 Ram 1,500 pickup trucks on your lot, and the manufacturer says, "But we'll pay you $10,000 for every one you take from us." You're going to turn around and go, "What the hell am I supposed to do with the 1,500 I already have?" Yeah, so
Well, yeah, and we saw that article from there was a Nissan dealer that they were getting paid like $1,500 a pop to take
yes,
extra Muranos,
yes,
and he was like, "No, I'm not going to. I don't care if you give me this extra $45,000 on these 35 units you're going to send me. The amount of floor plan I'm going to have to pay in the next 3 months when I can't move those things is going to." Is going to be greater than that incentive that you're giving me to take these cars right now. So no, I don't care. I don't care if you're going to give me an extra $1,500 a pop. I can't sell them right now. I don't have anywhere to put them, so I can't take them.
and I think we're going to see more and more dealers, and I wouldn't be surprised if the biggest public dealer groups communicate to all their manufacturer partners. Our inventory levels are too high, and you can do whatever you want to do, but unless you come up with incentives that are going to actually help us move these vehicles, we're going to turn down allocations. It's just that simple. The manufacturer, as I used to like to say, never stroked us a check at the end of the year to make us whole at the dealership level. If we lost money, we lost money. And oftentimes we lost money because our inventory levels were out of whack based on what customers were buying. But like Acura, my Acura zone manager never wanted to hear me say, "Well, I'm turning down inventory." Okay, I'll take the inventory. I'll try and sell it somewhere else, but I'm not keeping it. It it's it, it, they I don't. They have a different way of looking at things. Can I trouble you with one thing?
Sure.
Okay, you said you're looking at a Toyota
Yep.
that you and Mrs. Car Questions answered, um, are thinking about getting a new Toyota. You're in the car business. I am guessing, correct me if I'm wrong though, but I'm guessing that when you go to the dealership, you tell people there what it is that you do for a living. So they know you're in the car business, correct?
They usually figure once I ask the right questions, I usually don't have to tell. They're like, "Okay, you've been in sales or something like." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do they treat you any better, or do they treat you the same as if, I don't know, they're hoping you're just a rube walking in off the street?
Well, I can't speak for someone who has not been in car sales because as long as I've been an adult, I have been in the car
Yeah,
industry. So I've never had an experience where I've gone to a dealership and not been able to ask the questions that lets them know that I'm in the car industry, right?
yeah,
But I can say that we went to a Toyota dealer to just we're initially just thinking about upgrading my wife's vehicle,
yes.
and we just wanted to go in and just get some numbers, right? We're just
Okay,
trying to get some numbers. We were in there for 45 minutes as soon as we walked in from the time we walked in the door to the time we walked out of the door, just to get a buyer sheet. That's all we wanted. We wanted out the door price. And we were sitting down with this. I mean, he was a new salesman, young guy. He was super nice. He was
yes,
doing his job, right?
okay,
But I was just trying to get numbers. And he said,
sure,
"Okay, well, with this we offer these." Yeah, okay. Well, let me just give me an out the door price. I just want to get some numbers. It's like, "Oh yeah, but are you looking for this? When are you looking to buy? Are you no? I'm good. We're just looking. Can I get some numbers?" And it seems like I asked him for numbers maybe 10 times
okay.
before he said, "Okay, well, let me go talk to my manager."
So are you saying, from your perspective as someone who has spent his adult life in the car business, are you saying that the experience of trying to get numbers is much harder and much worse than it really should be if a customer just wants to know how much you charging me for this?
I can tell you, if you walk onto my used car dealership,
Yeah.
you're going to know how much a car costs
Yes.
in exactly 2 seconds.
Okay,
You don't have to come inside; it's on the car.
but you, and I mean this in the nicest way, and I'm going to say it with as much love as I can muster, and I don't want you to take it wrong, but you are not normal, okay, as far as the car business is concerned. So you are you try to you expect the Toyota dealership to sort of kind of operate the same way you would, which is, I'll tell you right up front what the price is.
Just tell me what the freaking price is. That's what I want to just do. Just tell me. I want some numbers. Just give me the numbers. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated.
But no, I get it. But they won't give it to you. They don't give it to you, and they know. They know from the questions that you've asked, the things that you've said, that you're in the business. They know that. And they trust me, they are treating you like the rube that they hoped that you were. Okay. They're treating you like every other customer. So if they treat you this badly, if they won't provide you with the information that you asked for in a reasonable time frame, and I don't think 45 minutes is a reasonable time frame, imagine what they're doing to people that don't know anything. I mean, just imagine how miserable it has to be for people to go and try and buy a car.
So I got an even better one where I was going to look at I'm looking for another vehicle for myself too, a used car.
Yeah.
And so I found one that I liked the price on
Okay.
the internet, and I called this dealership. This was also last week. Where me and my wife are both looking for vehicles that we're going to get. But this one, the one that I want, is more of a specialty vehicle. It's going to be a used vehicle, and it had a price of like $34,000 online. So I called and said, "Hey, I'm a dealer. Can you wholesale it to me where I don't have to pay taxes? We can just reassign it to me. I can come throw my dealer tag on it, just take it off your hands. I can pay cash, don't have to finance. We don't have to deal with any of that stuff. Just so you don't have to do any of the title fees, anything like that." And yeah, no problem. This was coming from a manager.
Okay.
Said, okay, look, just give me a price sheet because I like the price, and as long as everything looks good, then it's fine. So they sent me a price sheet with obviously all the fees on it, and the total came up to like 37,000. And I called back. I was like, "Dude, you said that you were going to wholesale it to me." He's like, "Yeah, I can wholesale it to you. Just yeah, we just have all these fees you still have to pay." I said, "Dude, there's a title fee on there, and this is what you would pay to North Carolina."
Yeah.
To register the car. So you're just going to charge me the title fee and then you're going to keep it yourself? And he's like, "Okay, let me talk to my manager again." And so the manager sent me an email, very sharp and short, just said, out the door, it's this $37,000. This is what you got to pay.
Okay. So apparently that dealership has no idea how one wholesales a vehicle to another dealer.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll wholesale you this vehicle like you're a dealer and sell it to you just like you're a consumer. I don't know. I should have went and bought the car anyway just to see how they were going to do the paperwork.
Yeah, because they couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. If it's this difficult for people like you who are in the industry, just imagine for a second how miserable an experience it is for the vast majority of people who go out there and try and buy a new car or a used car. And bless you, you're on YouTube, you're out there every day trying to make life easier for people, trying to help inform them. Zach and I are out there, on a daily basis trying to make it easier for people. And yet the industry And if you talk to industry leaders, they'll say, "Oh yeah, we've made it so much easier for customers today. It's so much better than it's." That's all BS. It's this for the vast majority of dealerships. It's the same nonsense it's been for a hundred years. Okay, they don't want to tell you anything. They don't want to do anything. It's just terrible. There's a couple of comments that people were kind enough to well give us money, and so I should probably pull them up. And this is from Kyle H. Bought a Tundra after 6.2 GMC lifter collapse.
Lifter.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
those motors are bad about that.
Yeah. And thank you for the donation. And from 9 Mil Norm, my wife and I founded a car throughout the site that is local to us. I am a $10 monthly subscriber. How does using the site work? It says delivered even on used cars.
That sounds like a Zach question to me.
Thank you, and not to defer. I'll be damned if I know how any of this stuff works.
Here we go. Here's what we'll do. So this question right here, we're going to
save for Zach.
Yeah, we're gonna let Zach know about it. And tomorrow he's on the live show. Make sure you come back on the live show. And
you don't have to pay again.
Yeah.
Nope. 9 Mil Norm, you do not have to pay again. I don't know if there's a way to copy and paste. There probably is not, but I will do my best to get this to Zach.
Hey, Ray, this video, it's going to go on the internet when we're done with it. So it will be out there. Yeah. Where people can see this after the fact. So Zach will be able to find this.
Yes.
I rest assured he'll be able to get to this.
Okay, because as you know, or as I like to say, I'm just the pretty face. Zach and his team are the ones that know how any of this stuff works. I don't know how it works. I can bear you can see I couldn't even share my screen, so I can't answer a question like that.
So I want to go back to the average person being able to buy a car right now.
Yes.
So let me tell you, this car that I'm looking for it on the internet. You guys, one of your concierge used people are looking for this car for me. I've got another broker that's looking for this car for me. I've got someone on the company who produces this car in the used car space. They are looking for this car for me. It's been a week and a half, and we still have not had very many leads on this kind of vehicle. So it's very tough to find a good quality used car out there. I don't know how the general public does it, and I feel bad for them.
I don't know how they do it either. I received an email this morning. I'll share this with you from a nice young lady in Arizona who's never sold cars, and she wants to go into the car business and become a salesperson. And she was looking for wisdom and advice. I guess the best wisdom and advice that I could have shared with her was, well, don't do it. But the wisdom that I shared with her was to be yourself, to be authentic, to always try and connect on a human level with your customer. Because if you can't do that, you're never going to sell the car. I know that there are many dealers out there that think the industry is better today than it's ever been as far as its treatment of customers. I will say that if you were to actually check with the customers, they would tend to disagree. And so I feel sorry for people that want to buy cars, and I feel sorry for people who want to go in and sell cars, because she said, I don't want to push stuff on people that they don't want. And I'm thinking, well, you're going to go to work for a Toyota dealership, and it's not up to you. It's up to your managers. And whether you're going to want to push the stuff they don't want doesn't matter, because your managers are going to want you to push the stuff that they don't want. It's just that simple. I'm so glad I don't do this anymore.
What do you think the turnover rate right now in sales for these young salespeople coming into the market like right now are?
High. I mean, the
Yeah.
turnover rate in the auto industry has always probably been somewhere around 50-60%, maybe 70% turnover. I know when I was with the Penske organization, one of our stated corporate goals was to have, on the sales side of things, a turnover rate of less than 35%, which is when I basically adopted the mindset that if I saw something in somebody to hire them, it was my job to pull it out of them. And I couldn't just look at them after 30 days or 60 days and go, oh, this was a mistake. No, I wasn't allowed to admit that mistake. I had to fight through it and love the one I was with and teach them how to do the job properly. It was just that simple. Guess what? We got another contribution here from Goob Cuttis of Borg. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to try and figure it out. About to pull the trigger on a new 2022 Challenger RT Plus. MSRP was $51,420. Dealer asking $43,500. Live in Texas, and car is in what's ID? And ID is asking $40,000 out the door too low. There's only one way to find out, and that's to ask it. And when they say no, then go up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely, I might even would say 39,000 OTD. Just say, look, I mean, this is a 2022. This thing's had 2 birthdays on this lot right now. You don't need another one. So I would love to take this car, but you make sure you drive that thing. Look for flat spots. Make sure it's got I would make them maybe even replace the battery that's in it. That thing's been sitting there for a while.
Oh, it has for sure. And one of the wonderful things about Mini, when I was with Mini, we had to do battery checks every 30 days. And before we could deliver a vehicle, we had to get a battery reading, and if it was below a certain level, we had to just replace it at our cost, because we had to turn that paperwork in to Mini at the time of delivery. So, yeah, I would double check the battery. I would make sure there's no flat spots on the tires, and more than likely there is, because, well, they don't move those vehicles enough so that there won't be. And you never, as I like to say, you never get what you don't ask for. So, if you think 40,000 is the number that you would buy it at, I agree with Brandon. Go in at 39,
and then leave, leave after that. Yeah. Give it. Tell them 39,000. Say, okay, I'm going to go check another Dodge dealership that's in the next town over, and I'm taking them the same offer. And I like that Dodge dealership better than this one, so you might want to stop me while I'm on my way over there.
I don't know that I would tell them I like the other Dodge dealership better, but then what the hell are you doing in my store if you don't like my store? Get out now.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be saying get out.
I would hope not. Well, we've crushed almost 40 minutes on a 30-minute show, so. And
I got a live coming up too at 1:00. Come join my live, people.
Well, then we should say goodbye. I want to thank you for being here today. You're kind and gracious and a wonderful human being. And I don't know if you can feel the love coming through the microphone and the camera, but we love you for what you do for us and what you do for the people out there. So thank you, Brandon.
I appreciate it, Ray. Like I said, these are my very favorite things to do on YouTube, and I'm very appreciative to the viewers to allow us to do stuff like this, because this is not like regular people work, and we get to get paid to do this. So this is amazing.
Yeah, this ain't work at all. This is just fun. Thanks again. Thank you, everybody. Zach will be back tomorrow when we do the show at noon Eastern. Have a great day, everybody.